Hi folks and welcome to their Saturday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt, alone. Hey, the good news. Pretty soon, I may have my old co-host back. Yep, that's right. We'll see though. I'm pretty excited about that fact, if he wants to come back. And I wish he kind of would come back for this episode, because this is an episode I know he would enjoy. This is one about the top 5 direct-to-DVD movies that I like. Now, this one, like I said, some of these may have gotten limited releases, meaning one was released on one screen for one day for a charity. Another one was released on 5 screens in like Los Angeles or something for 1 week or something, and then before it went on direct to DVD. But the thing is, I just used the rules as the whole purpose of making this video or making the movie was to go straight to DVD. And I pretty much had a solid list. I came up with my top 5 really quickly. I put 4 of the 5. Usually the first ones I think about are always going to make the list. And one that I didn't think about, because I didn't know it was a direct-to-DVD movie. And I was kind of shocked. I was like, oh, well, that's my number 1. Only because I didn't know it was direct-to-DVD. And I'll explain why when I get to number 1. But what set this off? Well, I was reading a behind-the-scenes kind of the movie making. It was about a particular, I'm not going to say the name of the actual book because then you'll know what one of the movies are. But it got me thinking because there's some direct-to-DVD movies I just love. And I got to read a behind-the-scenes of how direct-to-DVD movies kind of took off in popularity and how they continue to make money and stuff. And, what the studio thinks of these, how are they dealt with, how actors think of them. And I was like, okay, this is really neat. And then I started thinking, hey, you know what? I've never done this before, and I really like direct. Now, first off, let me just say, there's a lot of crappy direct-to-DVD movies, okay? I have very crappy sequels, or I know of very crappy direct-to-DVD sequels to great movies, like Donnie Darko's S. Darko. I went ahead and bought that. It was in the $5 bin or whatever at Blockbuster when they were going out of business, and I was like, well, I love Donnie Darko. S. Darko may not be that bad. It stars his little sister, and it sucks. It's really bad. Really bad. As a joke, I saw Christmas Vacation 2. Never see that unless you love to see the worst movie ever made. I think it's the worst movie ever made. I mean, it is like cheap sets. I mean, Barney the dinosaur, whatever his name was, or the Wiggle, they have bigger budgets than that movie did. That movie could have been made by anyone, honestly, with a camera. It is so cheaply made, and it's horrible performances, horribly thought out, just there for a cash grab for people who like Christmas Vacation. And as a joke, I used to tell everyone that Christmas Vacation 2 was better than the first one. They're like, really? Because this is back when Blockbuster was around. I was like, yeah, you should totally rent it. And then they'd rent it and go, Matt, that was the worst movie I've ever seen. I said, yes, now you're in on the secret. Now you got to get someone else to watch it. It's like the Ring video, you got to get someone else to watch it just to, make them feel bad about losing their time too, watching that movie. It's an awful movie. Never mind. I mean, it's a great movie and you should go out and rent it. Okay. Another that I can think of bad direct-to-DVD sequels. Oh man, I had it. I lost it just now. I was talking about that one, but there's a movie I really like called Screamers. The first one, I don't know if it got oh man, that may be if it never got released in the movies, that would have been one of my top 5. But it's too late for me to look up now. Screamers is a fantastic movie with RoboCop's main actor, Peter. I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, Peter Welling. That's a great movie. Excellent movie. Watch Screamers. Screamers is worth your time. Unfortunately, Screamers, the sequel, it's called Screamers something. It does take place 10 years later, and it looks nice. But unfortunately, it's the same, and even though it connects to the first movie distantly, it is horrible. It is horrible. Because they just repeat the same movie. I was like, well, it's going to be a different twist at the end, I'm guessing. No, it's the same twist. What? It didn't make any sense. It's just the same movie, just kind of remade. But they said, oh, well, this happened 10 years ago. Yeah, during the first movie. You're just going to make the same mistakes as the first movie? I don't understand that. So it's pretty bad. Another one I was just thinking about, Cube. Cube. Oh, my gosh. Watch Cube. If you've never seen it's kind of sci-fi. Not really, but It's called Cube, and it is just a joy. It happens in one room. Really, the set is just one room. They just relit it to make it look like different sets. You think, well, Matt, that seems cheap. It's great. It is a great movie. Cube is great. Unfortunately, Cube 2, Hypercube, and Cube Zero, they try to do a prequel. Awful. Awful movies. Awful. Just terrible. Absolutely horrendous. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because Cube took off as an indie hit wonder. By the way, if Cube came out direct to DVD, I'm screwed because that would be in my top 5 for sure, no doubt. Should have looked up that one. Should have looked up some of these that got crappy sequels. But that first Cube is solid. It's just a shame that Cube 2, which was made with more money, it looks like, because it looks like they got some CGI graphics and stuff. It sucks. It makes 0 sense. It's so stupid. But and then Cube Zero, just you could tell they had no budget for that one. So and that's what happens. These direct-to-DVD movies and sequels, they get cheaper and cheaper. The budgets get cheaper and cheaper because they're just trying to make a quick buck off you. It's the direct-to-DVD is kind of like that cheesy sleazy car salesman trying to sell you a lemon. You're like, nah, I don't think so. And a lot of times there's a lot of crap in direct-to-DVD movies, but not all the time. And here are my top 5. Now, to be honest, the first 2, I think everyone's going to have a problem with, and people may disagree with. The last 3, I don't care what you say. They're great movies. The first 2, I understand. It's preference. But the last 3, I think are solid for me. All right, so enough talking, enough squawking. Let's get to it. This is the one that people are going to disagree with, but I liked it. I liked it. Grudge 3. Now, the first 2 came out in movies, but I guess they felt like, 3 shouldn't get a release. I don't know why. They just felt like, nah, it's no good anymore. This series is dead. It's kind of weird, after you get a big launch for one. The first one was great. I saw the remake, and the remake is... Did I see the remake? Yeah, the remake's horrible. Horrible. I mean, worse than anything. I never seen the John or whatever what the original one was. I just don't have the desire. I hear it's good, but I just don't have the desire. The first Grudge is one of the scariest movies I have ever seen, if not the scariest. I mean, up there. I think we did a podcast a long time ago, and I talked about this. Grudge was Grudge is the most scariest movie I've ever seen. I had to sleep with the lights on that night, and I was pissed at myself that I had to sleep with the lights. I said, "Why am I letting this movie get to me?" I couldn't go up in someone's attic to help them out because of the attic scene in Grudge. I said, "Look, I'm sorry, dude." I said, "I hate to admit this, but I am freaked out from that movie Grudge, and I cannot go in your attic right now and help you." Okay. He said, "Was there a scene?" I said, "Yes." And I can't get it out of my head right now. And it's dark already, so I'm freaking out. And that was one of the scariest movies I have ever seen, was The Grudge. Grudge 2 came out, and a lot of people didn't like it. And yes, it is inferior to the original film, but it was still scary. And I think that was the first movie Megan came over to my house to watch because I just got it on DVD. I don't think she'd even seen the first one. But I was like, "Hey, do you want to watch this one with me?" Because I would always watch it again at my house. But I was scared to death. I wanted someone to watch that one with me. I remember when I was sitting in the movie theater, I had this Pepsi bottle, and I was twisting it as hard as I could, twisting it all, not off, because I would just be so nervous during the whole movie. And I remember this little girl was sitting next to her granddad and goes, "Daddy, what's wrong with that man?" I was like, he's a chicken. He's a coward. Now, Grudge 2, I slept with the lights off. I slept like a baby. So, I mean, it wasn't that. I mean, it was scary, but then I let it go. Grudge 1, ooh, that was a tough one to get out. Other scary movies I think I've had on there was Blair Witch Project, the original one. Probably not scary to people now, but freaked me out back then. I can't remember what other ones I had in there. But, oh man, Blair Witch 2. But that was a movie that came out. That was terrible. Ugh, they should have been direct to DVD, so they had an excuse for being terrible. Anyway, but Grudge 3 came out on video. I was like, wait, what? And I was pissed. I was like, wait a minute, are we going to go to the theater? You watch Grudge in the theater, man. And so I remember I just went ahead and bought it when it came out on DVD. I was pissed. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just buy it on DVD. And I remember she was my wife then. We had watched the Grudge 2, and we went back and watched Grudge 1 again, and that still freaked me out. But I said, we're watching Grudge 3. And I remember her cousin came over. And we watched it, and I was still freaked out. There's the scene where the girl's like flopping like a caterpillar, like coming toward him. And I just thought that was creepy. I mean, you put, I'd hate to say it, you put an Oriental in all white, like chalk white skin and black eyes coming at you. I'm going to run, dude. I'm going to run. And I was like, ooh. Now, was I as scared as is it as good as the first two? Probably not. If I remember, I thought it was on par with three. I mean, on par with two. To be honest, I think it was on par with two for me because I remember thinking I was like, that was pretty freaky. And if I'd have been in the theater, I'd have been scared more. I said, but that was pretty good, and I did enjoy it. Now I haven't watched it in a long time. Maybe I should, but I do have them still. So that may be something for watch for Halloween next year. But anyway, so I walk into the bathroom, and so my wife knows how much those movies scare me. So she gets her cousin because she knows I'll. She was afraid I was going to punch the person who jumped out at me. So her cousin has dark hair, though. That's another reason she did it. So her cousin put her hair over her, face, just like the scary lady does in the movie. And when I walked out of the bathroom, of course all the lights were out, and I see her like crawling toward me. I was like, cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. And I jumped, and they got a good laugh, and I'm just glad I went to the bathroom before they did that because we'd had a mess. But my wife got so tickled over that I was so scared of that movie. But again, thinking back on it, when I was thinking about my best direct-to-DVD, I was like, I remember saying over and over, now I do need to watch it again, so it's fair if people disagree with me, but I enjoyed Grudge 3. And I remember the whole time I was going, this could have been a movie. It's not as bad as, Grudge 2. It's actually pretty decent. So, Grudge 3 is my number 5. Now, let me go to my number 4. Number 4 is really, because there's people who agree with me on this one, but the wrong direct-to-DVD sequel. That's right, there are more than one sequels here, and everyone likes the second direct-to-DVD sequel instead of the first one, but I'm reversed, even though I do like the next one. Let me get around to what I'm talking about. Aladdin. Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar. I think it was just called Return of Jafar. A lot of people didn't like that because Robin Williams was gone. They wanted to make more movies, but they wanted to make it. This is back when Michael Eisner was in charge of the company of Disney, and he wanted to make DVD sequels, but to the great movies they had come out. And the first one was one of the first ones I believe was Return of the Jafar, and it made bank. I mean, big bank for Disney. And then they started making crappy sequels to everything. Aladdin is I think Lion King has some good direct-to-DVD sequels, but I'm not invested in Lion King. I saw them. I thought they were okay, but I don't like Lion King, the original movie. I'm just one of the few people who didn't. I was growing up by then. But Aladdin, I was still in my teens. I was still thinking Aladdin was pretty cool. And it's cool they made a guy instead of a Disney princess this time. I was like, that's different. That's nice. And I loved Aladdin. We all did. And when Return of Jafar came out on VHS, I think my mom bought it, and we watched it. And I love it, and I still love it today. Me and my wife, I think we own all 3 of those Aladdin movies, and that's the only DVD, direct-to-DVD sequels from Disney that we own. And Return of Jafar is pretty friggin' funny, even though they got a new voice for the genie, and that's why everyone hates that one. Everyone loves 3, King of Thieves, which has Robin Williams returning back. Yes, King of Thieves is fun. I do enjoy King of Thieves. It kind of wraps up the trilogy. It's really the best trilogy together when you think about it. But it is not my favorite out of the 2. I do love Return of Jafar. I think the story was really good. Jafar comes back as the genie. He's trying to get out. It kind of continues the storyline. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of excitement. There is a fantastic song called Forget About Love. Me and my wife listen to that in the car all the time. All the time. And it's Gilbert Godfrey singing it. Forget about that guy. Aladdin and Jasmine have a little argument, and then what's his name in the movie? I don't know what Polly Want a Cracker. Oh, doggone it! Can't think of the bird's name, but he is just great. That song is wonderful. It's well written, and like I said, my wife and I sing it all the time. I sing Gilbert Godfrey's part at the beginning, and then when Aladdin comes in at the end, I'll sing Aladdin's part. Megan loves the song too. It's just fantastic. And I know a lot of people, if they're big into Disney movies and they love the Aladdin trilogy, everyone's going to say, Matt, come on. King of Thieves beats Return of the Jafar. No. Yes, it's great to have Robin Williams back, and yes, he had a lot of funny jokes in there. But the genie for 2, the voice they got for him was pretty good, and I think there were more funny jokes in 2. To be honest, I laughed more in 2 than I did in 3. That's not saying I didn't enjoy 3, but I don't remember any of the music in 3, and I remember that one great song in 2. I really like that song, maybe better than Whole New World, from the first one too. I mean, the first movie is the best one. Don't get me wrong. First movie is the best one. But Return of Jafar, pretty solid film. I know if people had their choice, they'd say King of Thieves, but no way, man. It's got to be Aladdin 2 or basically Return of Jafar. All right, so these next 3, solid. solid on it. You can't convince me otherwise. Okay? You may disagree, but you can't convince me otherwise. And this one, I know people are going to have a problem with because they like a lot of these movies, but this is my favorite one out of the direct-to-DVD. Folks, I love the DC animated universe. I just got all the DVDs about a month or two ago. It's about 2 months ago now. And I watched them all through. I'd had Batman Forever. Batman, just the Batman animated series. I had that one forever in my collection. Loved it. Watched it several times. And then a buddy of mine, CJ, from the original, one of the original co-hosts of the podcast, told me way back when we started the podcast, he went, "Have you ever watched Batman Beyond?" It's like, no, it looked like crap. He went, "No, you need to watch it, dude. It's great." So I got that and got Return of the Joker, the movie, and that was great. Both of those were great. I mean, to be honest, Return of the Joker could have been on this list, but I wanted to pick one DC animated universe movie. And when I thought about it, I was like, no, I like the other one better. But Return of the Joker is a solid film, direct-to-DVD film for Batman Forever. And I love Batman Forever. I was like, wow, this is great. And then later on that year, a buddy of mine convinced me to get the Justice League. And so I got the Justice League. That was great. I really, 2 seasons, really enjoyed it. They came out with a movie just last year of the DCAU Justice League. Sucked. It sucked. It was horrible. Pointless. Waste of time. I bought it anyway on DVD because I love the Justice League so much. I thought it'd be good. Wah wah. It was not that good. And then earlier this year, my buddy gave me, he said, "Man, everyone was telling me I need to watch Superman. Superman animated series is great." I was like, I don't want to watch Superman animated series. It would suck. And we watched it. Finally, someone let me borrow it. I watched it. And it's like, I watched a few episodes and then went ahead and bought it. It's a good series. I just hate Superman. But I'll be honest, it is a good series. It is. The movie, Brainiac Attacks, not that good. It's like they didn't even the same voices, same artwork, the storyline, the characters, Lex Luthor and Brainiac are just kind of, Lex Luthor acts like a doofus, and Brainiac has a personality, which in the cartoon he never had a personality. Now, there could be reasons to explain Brainiac's personality, right? He's been blown up and rebuilt several times. He's probably going to have a few screws loose after a while. And there was some good stuff in Brainiac Attacks, like mainly the action. But other than that, it's a typical Superman sucks movie. Let me see. Static Shock is for kids. I watched it. A lot of people told me it was great. The art, the animation in the first season is, 80s bad. 80s cartoon bad. The second season, it's not that much better. And the third and fourth season, the animation was there, but the storytelling is super lazy. There's only a handful of stories that I loved, and those had to do with crossovers from Batman or Superman or, someone else, Batman Beyond. It didn't have anything to do with Static Shock. So Static Shock is for kids, but not for adults. And then there was the Zeta Project, which was a spin-off of Batman Beyond. I watched it. It's not that good. Zeta was a one-off episode from Batman Beyond that I don't remember, and they decided to spin it off into a TV show. No one's ever seen it. I think I'm the only person who's ever seen this. It came on TV supposedly for 2 seasons, but no one watched it, and it sucks. And then I watched some of the movies, but I'm dipping into the Batman movies here. Mask of the Phantasm came out in theaters, so I can't count that one. And by the way, Mask of the Phantasm, awesome movie, really good, probably the best. That's probably the best DC animated movie. I really love Mask of the Phantasm. And it came out in theaters, so I can't count that one. And then there was Return of the Batwomen or whatever, which was one of their last ones they did. Well, they just did Batman Harley Quinn in 2017. I just watched that one. Batman Harley Quinn is a lot of fun. I didn't even know it was related to the DCAU until later. And I picked it up. It's funny. It's got a lot of jokes. It's got a lot of humor. It's okay, though. It's not epic, though. Return of the Batwoman is like a 2-hour or hour and a half episode of Batman. I was like, nothing special goes on here, folks. So I was kind of disappointed that that's at first how the series ended. Now the last thing we see with that Batman is in Harley Quinn, which is a little bit better. I wish they'd make another one, though. Not as funny, though. That was funny and campy and enjoyable, but I kind of wish they would have made a more serious one, tones. But they only did that for the first 2 movies they came out with. Mask of the Phantasm, awesome, and then this one, Sub-Zero. I love Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero has Mr. Freeze. It was originally supposed to go out in theaters, but because Batman and Robin bombed in theaters, they thought, oh no, we have a Mr. Freeze in our movie too. It's going to suck. So they pulled it from a theater release and just released it on DVD. But man, the animation is there. It looks beautiful, and it is a fantastic story. I absolutely love the story. Now, people who love DC direct-to-DVD animation movies, you're right. There is a plethora to pick from. I have seen a lot of them because my best friend Bruce gives me tons of them, and I watch them all. And I have enjoyed everyone he's given me. Everyone he's given me, I have enjoyed. And I thought about picking another one, but to be honest, when it boils down to it, I just love Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero is just solid for me. And, I mean, if it wasn't for Mask of the Phantasm, which came out in theaters, that would be my pick, but I'm going to have to go with Sub-Zero. Now, again, DC fans, I know you have some words to say. No, Matt, this one's better. Yeah, you could be right. I've seen a lot of cool direct-to-DVD stuff from DC. It's sad that DC's animated movies that go direct-to-DVD are better than any cinematic release they've ever had. Any cinematic release, well, lately. Starting with Man of Steel, I guess. Was that that's the reboot of the New? After Christopher Nolan had some good films in there, but it was from Dark Knight Rises on, because I did not enjoy Dark Knight Rises. Everything else is garbage from DC and in the cinematic world, and it's sad because I love DC. In the animated world, woo, DC tells great stories. They have great animation. I mean, they're just winning all over the place on their direct-to-DVD stuff. I wish they'd take those creative minds and have them write the script for a live-action movie. I would love to see that, because it's not rocket science to come up with a great story. Just look at any DC animated movie, and you can see, what I'm talking about. So I know people may in the comments say, man, I like this DC animated movie better. And yeah, you know what? You're probably right. It's a good one. But for me, Sub-Zero all the way. All right, so two more left. This one was going to be number one. It was the first one I thought about because I was reading the book on it. And I thought, this is going to be number one by far. And then I realized another movie was a straight-to-DVD release with a limited movie release, like 1 week in 5 theaters. And I was like, well, it was always intended to be direct to DVD, so I'll count it. This one also got one screening. I didn't know this until I read the behind the scenes on it. It did get one screening the week before it released, and that was at a fundraiser for a school, the director's school. They played the movie, and I would have loved to have been there for it. But anyway, this is Tremors 2 Aftershocks. Tremors 2 Aftershocks, in my opinion, is better than the first movie. No one agrees with that but me. Well, there may be a few people who agree with me on that. If you love the movie Tremors and you never saw the sequels, shame on you. The second one is phenomenal. And they made it for a fraction of the cost. I think it was, if I'm looking at all the math, it's close to 1/10 of the cost. And it's unbelievable what they did with less money, because they made a fantastic film that was funny, smart, witty, great. I remember we rented this. We saw it at a place, we had this old video store called Video Giant. And they did 10 movies for 10 days for $10. Right? Heck yeah. So we're scoping around. We each got like a couple movies each. There's 3 of us, so we had 6 each. We're like, okay, come on, let's pick another one. We're like, and then you kind of do a crapshoot, right? Well, that one looks kind of cool. I'll pick this one. Well, then it was on the very bottom of the row, and I passed by like, Tremors 2? Now, they made a sequel? Now, I didn't see Kevin Bacon on it, but I was like, I'll still try it out. So I got Tremors 2. I brought in this. They made it. And my roommate's like, they made a sequel? I said, yeah, I thought we'd watch it. This is sure. And I remember we watched it first, because I thought, well, let's watch this one first, because it's probably going to suck because Kevin Bacon's not in it. And we laughed the entire time. And we absolutely loved that movie. And no movie, the other 10 movies we rented, don't even remember them. Don't even remember them. Remember Tremors 2. And then I went out and said, you know what? I got to own this movie. It is that fantastic. And when I read a behind-the-scenes book earlier this month about Tremors, or last month actually, about Tremors, and they said the director released it as a charity drive fundraiser for his kid, and they went to the local cinema and played it. I would have loved to have been there for that. I would have paid my money, because Tremors 2 is fantastic, and it was going to get a cinematic release if Kevin Bacon had signed on, but he declined. Everyone else signed on. Fred Ward, Michael Gross. And that would go on to launch several direct to DVD sequels. 3 is pretty good, not as good as 2. 4 is crap, it's garbage. I would basically skip it. A lot of fans think that way. 5 is good, maybe on par as with 3. 6 is not good. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing how they were promising on 5 and they really got cheap. I mean, it's better than 4 because 4 is absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. 5, a pretty big snooze fest with a few action scenes, but you could tell they were doing all the cheap. And I was like, oh, I wish they hadn't gone so cheap because the 5th movie really did a good job. Now, yes, there is a Tremors 7 coming out now. Well, 4, 5. No, it's 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this is 7. It comes out in October. It's called Island Fury. The guy from Napoleon Dynamite himself, Josh Hedger or whatever his name is, he is coming back to be on the. Well, he's not coming back, but he's going to be on this movie. I was like, shut up. So we actually got a decent actor to play him. I mean, Jamie Kennedy was in the last 2, and he was great, but they replaced him with Napoleon Dynamite, which should be fun. I'm interested in watching it. But I don't know why Jamie got left, because, I mean, Jamie Kennedy got left off, but he said he's happy about it. He wishes the cast well. But they got a new one. I'm interested in seeing it because, to be honest, 6 was not the best one. They have to do better. I got my fingers crossed that they're going to do better. I know Michael Gross is building it up, but he builds up any movie he's in. And that comes out in October, and to be honest, that was my number one. If you watched the podcast earlier this year, it was my number one most anticipated movie for 2020. No joke. I will buy that the day it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray. I don't care. It's coming out. I want to buy it. I got to have it. I love Tremors, and I just don't want it to end on 6. So, Tremors 2, though, phenomenal. In my opinion, better than 1. Not many people agree with me on that, but it is a fantastic sequel, and every Tremors fan agrees to that. All right, so what is number 1? Didn't even know this movie came out direct to DVD. And like I said, 1 week in theaters just to prime everyone to buy the DVD is what it said. So I was like, okay, I'll count it. Boondock Saints. Now, the reason I didn't know Boondock Saints came out on DVD, straight to DVD, is because Boondock Saints 2 came in theaters. And that's true. It's one of the few movies, or maybe the only, I don't know, I have to check that out. One of the few movies that the first one came out on DVD and the second one got a theatrical release because the first movie blew up with people. They absolutely loved it. And so whoever owned the rights said, okay, we'll make the second one in theaters. I saw the second one in theaters. Second one's not that good. It's not that good. I hate to say it. There's some great scenes in it, but it's not as good. The first movie is brilliant. It is flawless. I absolutely love the movie. William Dafoe is in it. Sean, young Indiana Jones. Can't think of his name right now. You think I would have wrote that down. And then, oh no, what is his name? Edward from Walking Dead. Shoot. I've totally lost everyone's name. I've gone blank here. This is what happens when you're up all night with a sick kid. But anyway, it is great. It is a great movie. If you've never seen it, you've got to watch it. Honestly, that is a great movie, bar none. The sequel, not as good because the Mafia in the sequel are really stupid. I mean, like, no one's that stupid, but they're really dumb. And the cops are really, really, really dumb. And the girl who played Dexter's girlfriend on Dexter, she is the cop chasing him, and she's supposed to be from the South, and she does the worst Southern accent. I mean, it's like this, you guys, we gotta do that. I was like, that's an awful Southern accent. It is awful. Okay, people can do good Southern accents, and that aren't Southern, but like, who was his name from The Walking Dead? I can't think of the main character. Shoot. I've totally gone. Norman Reedus. That's the guy in the movie Boondock Saints, but now I can't remember the Andrew Lincoln. There it is. Andrew Lincoln does a great Southern accent. A great Southern accent. The other girl, though, in the sequel, terrible accent. And the sequel came out in movie theaters, and it's worse than the first movie. It got a bigger budget, too, and that's what's embarrassing. Now, again, there are good scenes in the sequel. The sequel's got some great scenes, but overall, it's inferior to the first film. First film, well worth your time. All right, folks, well, that is my top 5 direct-to-DVD movies. Hey, What is your top 5? Let me know in the comments. And hey, I'll see you next time on another Saturday morning Samoflange.